Good morning. It is time to skip the BS. It's time for Undisputed. It's time to welcome in Paul Pierce. Wait a second. No wheelchair today?
No wheelchair.
You're playing hurt. Playing hurt, man.
No, I'm all right.
Are you?
I'm in the game still.
So you have an injured finger.
I was crushing in the weight room, man.
Crushing in the weight room?
I was crushing in the weight room.
And
a plate fell on my hand while I was
fell on your hand from where?
I was doing a plank with a 45.
Oh, okay.
Nobody can do that really, but, but true gorillas in the weight room.
That is true.
So, and then it slid off, smashed my hand, had to have surgery, but I'm here. Bright early Monday morning.
Wow. And
ready?
You had surgery? What did they have to put a pin in it?
Put a pin in it. I'm not
going to take him that question. Don't ask him the question about a pin in it or anything, Skip. The reason I say this is, you know, this conversation about toughness and football and all of that?
Yeah,
he had to be sedated to get the surgery.
No, I didn't.
He had to be put underneath.
Finger smashed open, bone came out. I drove myself to the hospital, got the surgery, went home. And drunk a cup of coffee.
Did they put you under, yes or no?
Like football
Did they put you under, yes or no, Paul?
Then I'm going to go to the weight room again today.
Why not?
You won't answer me.
And get right back in action.
Okay. Did they put you under, yes or no?
No, they didn't.
Oh, so
they gave me some laughing juice.
Oh, some laughing juice.
That's it.
Or gas.
Laughing gas.
Oh, God. Well, as they like to tee this up, Skip.
Yeah.
The Denver Nuggets sure aren't laughing right now, are they?
No, they're not. Well, we're glad you're back, and we're glad you're okay, and we're glad you're going back to the weight room today.
Today. I'll be back.
I'm impressed. Okay, so we had two road teams win Game 7s yesterday.
Well, Skip and Kid, I'm in complete shock. I never thought that the Denver Nuggets, as good as a home team as they've been over the last few years, would lose 3 games. 3 games in one playoff series at home. Let's start right there.
Yep.
And then you have a Game 7 where you're up by at least 20 at some point in the game. Full control, crowd is into it. I'm like, oh, okay. Denver's just going to win in blowout fashion. Mm-hmm. They're up 15 at the half. And then after that, the offense disappeared. You know, and you say collapse by Denver, but a lot of this is what Minnesota did, being that they were or are the #1 defense in the NBA all year. They have the defensive player of the year. So that played a factor when you see Denver Nuggets come out and score 14 points in the third quarter.
Yep.
As hot as Jamal was in the first half, that's how Cody was from 3. He shot 1 for 7.
Yep.
Now, the stars showed up to the party, but I say this all the time. You expect your stars to give you star performances, in which they did. You know, 35 and 34, I'll take that. But when you're role players, you need at least one X factor on the road when you're going deep in the playoffs. And they didn't get that. Look at this. Would you believe that no one outside of Joker, no, listen to this. Joker and Murray scored damn near all the points in the second half.
Did.
Let me tell you this. Look, Porter had 3 points in the second half.
He did.
And Bron had 2 points for the whole second half.
Yep.
You can't win that way.
That's it.
You can't win that way. And so, you know, yeah, it was a collapse, but I'm going to take my hat off to Minnesota. When Rudy Gobert hit that shot, I said, it's over. I ain't gonna lie to you.
By the way,
Rudy Gobert, they was up 2.
See that shot, please.
Look,
Rudy Gobert.
They was only up 2, and I'm talking about Denver playing as hard as they can play.
3 left.
They only up 2, and he does this at the end of the shot. I'm saying to myself,
fading away, ripping it cleanly. And that put them up 4. And I was with you. I said, okay, that's it. That's enough.
There's certain things that happen in the course of a game when you see stuff like that, you like, oh, no, they can't win.
I don't think I've ever seen him make a shot like that.
I don't think so. A
I'm not even sure
fadeaway
he tries a shot like that.
Off of one leg with the shot clock winding down, I was like, it's over. And then from that point on, Minnesota took control. Nas Reed obviously was a big factor. McDaniels did what he had to do, 23 points. They decided they want to double Anthony Edwards, and it hurt them. So hats off to Minnesota. Hopefully
wait a second. How did it hurt them on Anthony Edwards?
Well, it hurt them that he distributed to the X factors.
Yeah.
You know, McDaniels give you 23. Conley hits a huge 3 in the corner.
He did. He always hits huge 3s.
And so, you know, the guys who stepped up needed to step up. Nas Reed, great fourth quarter, 6th man of the year.
Yep.
And it was just a complete team effort from Minnesota's part where I didn't get anything from anybody else not named Murray or Joker on the other side.
No.
Yeah, no, you look at it, Skip, you give up a 20-point lead, right? It is the largest Game 7 blown lead in 25 years. And you, as Paul said, at halftime, they up by 15. But a big third quarter from Atman, knocking down that 3 right before they move into the fourth quarter, puts them down by 1. So at that point, the screws start to tighten against the Denver Nuggets. And you can kind of see that the stress factor has started to play right in there for them. Yep. Defensively, Minnesota was throwing all sorts of bodies at Joker, at Murray. Joker still got his money, but what they did do is that, as we've always talked about all year long, what's his assist rate? He gonna get his points. But if you can keep that assist rate down from them high numbers that we're accustomed to seeing him get, then you probably are in a good position to win games.
He wound up with 7 for the whole game.
Yes, 7 for the entire
Against
game.
the Lakers, he's like averaging 12.
Yeah.
And so you cut that thing in half, you got an opportunity and a chance. Then you look at the number. Each team rolled out 8 bodies on the floor at some point in time throughout the game.
Yep.
You talk about Minnesota's bodies. Every last body, so 6 of the 8 guys with meaningful minutes were in the double-figure category.
Yep.
Where I thought role players weren't supposed to be great on the road according to the NBA standards.
Yep.
But the role players in Jaden McDaniels and company and Nas Reed, they stepped up to the plate. When Ant-Man was struggling, and not necessarily struggling, but when you're throwing 2 and 3 bodies, he literally would touch the football, Skip, and not dribble.
Or the basketball. Either way.
The basketball.
Yeah.
Basketball. And all of a sudden, you look up, it's 3 dudes on him.
He was shooting the basketball like it was a football. But go ahead. Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? And then when you look at Denver's home role players, they didn't show up.
Did not show.
2 guys in double figures, and both of them are the stars. Everybody else is almost like they forgot how to play basketball at home.
True.
You cannot win that way. And Minnesota's been in this building. They've won, if you count this game, 3 out of the last 4 times that they've been in the building. So the crowd, the altitude, it didn't affect them one bit. They were not afraid at all. And even though they were down for a significant part of that game, they felt and believed. And when the fourth quarter came, they just somehow willed themselves the victory. The last 7 minutes of that game just turned. It completely turned in their favor. And as the clock started winding down, all I could think about is my good old friend Mike Malone.
Who's your daddy now, Mike?
Well, hey, man, I'm not going to go there just yet. But in the end, and I'll say this, and I'll say it right now, because I saw cracks in the foundation throughout the course of the year for the Denver Nuggets. This could be one of those situations where everybody else in the West is getting better.
Yep.
And Denver's going to be stuck in neutral because OKC's young and they're good. Minnesota, to the head guy, is young and he's good, right, Skip? You know the Lakers aren't going to stay the same. The Clippers will try to figure it out. Golden State's not going to say this. Memphis is getting their guy back. So you could go on, and who knows what San Antonio may wind up doing in the free agent market or trade market. So this was a shot for Denver to get that second championship.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's coming anytime soon.
I am with you.
What?
All right. Back to Paul's first point. I want to remind everybody that, to your point, Denver lost 3 home games, including a Game 7 at home.
It's crazy.
And even worse, Denver was up 3-2 going to Minnesota for Game 6, and they lost by 45 points. So they had their shot on the road with all the momentum, only because Joker played superhuman basketball for 3 straight games. It was all him all the time. Jamal faded, Jamal disappeared, Jamal struggled. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know. He just looked like about half of himself over the last 4 games. And yet, when you get it back home to a Game 7, I'd pick Denver in 7, you had Denver in 7, you think, well, they'll suck it up. They'll figure it out. The role players will play. There'll be some unknown X Factor hero, somebody, and there was nobody. And the shock to me was, once Anthony took Jamal in the third quarter, and he did lock him up in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Jamal came back alive a little bit in the fourth quarter, but it was too late. But once he locked him up, their offense degenerated in the third quarter once they were up 20. It degenerated into Joker with the ball at the top of the circle looking around like, does anybody want it, or is anybody going to get open?
Right.
And then the shot clock's winding down, and he's like, I don't know, I guess I got to shoot this.
Yeah.
And he lost his touch from three. Against you guys, especially last year in the Western Conference Finals, every time he shot a three, he made it, it felt like, and just ripped your heart out, because when the 7-footers out there stroking threes, it's just hard to beat them. Well, last night, he made a couple in the fourth quarter, but all through that run,
no rhythm from three.
He had no rhythm, and he just couldn't, and it looked like it just degenerated into, is this all we got? I guess so. And it looked like he was shooting them out of desperation, like, I don't know what else to do but throw this up at the shot clock, right?
But to Minnesota's credit, did you notice they was leaving them open from three?
They just said, well, they dared him after a while.
Yeah, they was like, all right, look, we'll take the lesser of two evils.
Yep.
We're going to pack the paint in. We'll let Joker shoot the three instead of him posting us up and giving us all this footwork, jump hook left, jump hook right. We'll let him shoot these threes. And so it worked in their benefit, because a lot of those threes was open. So that looked like that was the game plan. We'll rather him shoot those and brick those than come in here and destroy us in the paint.
That is correct. So it's 10:50 left in the third quarter, and Jamal hits a three, and it's 58-38. What would you have bet at that moment? How much would you have bet on Denver closing the deal? Seriously.
You bet the house on that.
You just bet the house.
You bet the house on that, right?
They're in their house.
It felt like Denver was going to walk away with it.
Just felt like
it. Felt that way. But then as they started to chip
I understand.
away,
and then back to the point, Minnesota had already won a couple of games. They ain't afraid of no ghosts. Come on. They got, they can play with these guys. They just beat them by 45. And so here they come. And from the 10:50 mark of the third quarter down to Ant-Man's three with 3:07 left in the game with the wide open in the corner.
Yeah.
The run was 54-24. That's at home. You gave up a 30-point run from early third quarter to late fourth. You're kidding me. I mean, that's just an absolute collapse. And, is Mike Malone going to take any blame for this at all? I don't know. Can you do something? Can you shake it up? Can you put somebody else in? Can you try somebody else? Can you change a play? Can you change a defensive coverage? I don't know, because they just kept doing what they've been doing since they won the championship last year, and it did not work. Now, to Minnesota in the fourth quarter. So Anthony had a rough game shooting the basketball. So in the fourth quarter alone, Anthony Edwards goes 1 for 8. Well, if I told you that going into the fourth, you'd say they're done. They're not going to win the fourth quarter. Instead, everybody else came to the party. Everybody came to the party. Really.
Yeah, literally everybody.
Literally everybody. His teammates in the fourth quarter went 8 of 11 and made 12 of 15 free throws. That will work, because all of them, even Naz Reid coming, sixth man of the year, coming off the bench, has 8 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Every time I looked up, somebody else was either making a basket or making 2 free throws.
Making a play.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. And on the other side, to your point, they got nothing from nobody except those 2, and those 2 went pretty quiet through that 54-24 run. And so you just, it's like slow death, man. You're just, those fans had to just be sitting there in horror watching this slowly but surely. I'm sure you were loving it, because Mike Malone has gloated and gloated. And we're going to get to this a little later in the show, but he had a really kind of a pissy, low-road answer to a question, a legit question.
Yeah, I wanted to say that. That's why I didn't want to elaborate on it.
But the point was, he's a pretty sore loser after he went along for a great ride, because he had the best player in the world, right, for a long time, and Jamal making walk-offs. And as long as that's happening, you're pretty good. Right?
And when you have a player like Anthony Edwards on the team, although he didn't shoot the ball extremely well, he had some bright moments and spots at times in the third quarter. Obviously, that was a big moment. He played great defense. But it's infectious that his aura rubs off.
It does. It changed everything. It changed life. It did.
It's a different.
They all changed. Yeah.
Right? It's just different. You even look at his post-game presser and he got Cat sitting next to him.
He does.
Cat talking the talk now. I understand you won the game and you're moving on to the next round, but Cat talking that talk. Like he is all of a sudden,
Hey.
like, yeah,
Right.
he up there with the gold and the earrings and the hat. I'm like, okay,
You know what?
I like that.
You're right, because he wasn't like that before.
No. But he following his leader, though,
He is.
Skip.
He's empowered now. And listen, that is the best game I have ever seen him play on both ends of the floor, because he goes 8 of 14, and he had 12 rebounds, and he was banging with Joker
he was.
and bothering Joker.
And that was the best adjustment they made, putting Karl Towns on him. You know, and so it forced Joker now, because how physical that Towns was playing, to shoot threes, I believe.
Yep.
But this
Physical
just
plus
you
handsy.
can't have 5 points from
From
nobody named Murray or Joker in the whole second half, Skip. I don't think I've ever seen that or heard of that.
Yeah.
Ever. Just 5 points from the rest of your players in a whole second half of the game.
Okay.
I mean, the biggest culprit in all of this, I believe, in the last 3 games had to be Michael Porter Jr.
You're right.
I mean, he couldn't even
has
give
he
you
not
that-
been a Laker killer, man?
Yeah, I
he's
mean-
just
Yeah, I
been-
thought he played his way to $250 million contract, boy.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave you single figures in the last 3 games
He
when they
did.
needed them most.
Yep.
He got, I thought he got open shots, took great shots.
He wound up 1 of 6 from 3 for the
Yeah,
game.
1 of 6, and they can't
Yeah.
have that. This is your 3rd leading scorer. This is
Yeah.
a guy who averages 18 points a game, and he couldn't crack double figures over the last 3 games. So,
Yep.
you know, I wouldn't
And-
panic if I was Denver.
Aaron Gordon had 4 points last night, and as you guys know, he's capable of 25 on any given night.
Yeah, but the most
right?
disappointing stat for me and Aaron Gordon, who's a guy who I consider, you know, a guy who gets the dirty work done, he has 0 rebounds. He has 0 defensive rebounds. He has 0 defensive rebounds.
0 defense. He had
Like,
4
that's hard to
offense.
do.
That's hard to do.
That's hard to do at the power forward position playing 42 minutes.
Yeah.
That's tough. You should just end up with a free throw rebound, something like that. Like,
something.
come on, that's hard to do. So I was a little disappointed in role players. Clearly, they didn't show up to the party. But if I'm the Denver Nuggets, I'm not panicking. You run it back next year. Joker's in his prime. He's still
No,
the
you
best
don't
player.
panic.
No.
My whole point about
Everybody's getting better.
look,
I get
everybody
it.
gonna get better.
I think they're going to get better too.
I agree with Keyshawn on this. They'll be the same, but they're only going to be the same.
gonna be
I don't
the
see
same.
them being able to.
One player can change their fortune off the bench. You know, you get a productive player who you can count on.
That
because their
made
starting 5 is still probably one of the best starting 5s in the game.
no question about it. But when you look at the playoff teams, the teams that were in the playoffs, play in, whatever you want to call it, Houston's coming. They just gonna get
but they're
better.
not going to be a contender.
No, I understand. They're getting better.
They're getting better. Of
Phoenix
course.
got to figure it out.
I'm not worried, probably not too much worried about them. Definitely not worried about the Lakers. You got to talk about teams like Memphis, the young
But how
teams.
you not gonna worry about the Lakers?
OKC. You know, you got to think about the young teams that are coming.
Yeah.
Like OKC for sure. They get a little more grit to them, they're going to be ready.
See, I look at it totally different, man. I look at teams that all of a sudden OKC is one thing. Then Dallas is another thing. That's another problem, and Dallas is already in the Western Conference
You
Final.
got to think Dallas, but let's not talk about these play-in teams that you're talking about.
I don't care. Look, I don't care what you tell me. They're going to get better because they're not going to stay the same.
No, for
Is
sure.
Golden State going to get better?
Yes, they're going to make adjustments
I don't think
somehow.
they would.
They're going to figure out how to get somebody to do something to help
But it's
them
not
get
going to
better.
put them at the same level as a Denver or Minnesota or Dallas next year.
See, I don't know that, though, Paul. I don't know. It's too early to tell. I just know they're going to get better, and I don't
These
know
are
that
young
Denver
teams with
is
young
all of a sudden
stars
going
all
to become
in their-
better.
These are young teams with young stars, and this is the flip. This is the flip over of the league that, like, it's the transition.
Even if you want to get rid of the old heads, even if you want to push Phoenix aside, Golden State aside, the Lakers aside, get rid of them. You want to throw the Clippers in there too, get rid of them.
Okay.
Now let's just talk about Dallas, OKC. Memphis is getting job back, and no telling what else they're going to
That's
put
what I'm
together.
saying. That's
I have
what
no
I'm
idea
saying.
what San Antonio's going to look like.
OKC.
I no idea what they're going to look like. Minnesota, after this experience that they've had, when everybody says, well, you need this experience, but like Ant-Man said in his press conference, we've been losing every year in the playoffs. What the hell you mean? Yes, it's finally our turn. They're only going to get better.
Yeah, they're going to get better, for sure.
You know, where Denver, on the flip side of things, when I look at it, I'm like, okay, you're supposed to be the champions, and you at home in the Game 7, you blow a 20-point lead, something that hadn't happened in a Game 7 in 25 years. There's a crack in the foundation. You could see it coming just based on how they were playing. Even when they played the Lakers, a play-in team, you can see, this ain't the same Denver team
I agree.
from a year ago.
I look to see them back in this same scenario next year. I really believe that the Denver Nuggets will be back. It's tough to win back-to-back, and no team in the last, I believe 5 years has gotten past the second round, Skip, that won the championship
That won
the year.
the last 5 years.
That won the championship the year before. So it's tough. It shows you how hard it is.
Even with the MVP?
Even with the MVP. So I think they'll be back. I truly believe it. Joker's in the middle of his prime. He's still a dominant player. He's going to be up MVP again next year. And as long as you got a player that, you're always going to be in the conversations of being in contention.
So can you boil it down to they missed Bruce Brown from last year because he would come in and just light it up for them?
Yeah, I mean,
and Christian Brown is a nice young player, but who plays hard on defense.
They would have gave him a couple more X factors because in this game you had 3 of them that didn't show up. So you add Bruce Brown to that scenario, or even Jeff Green. Another guy that they had, so that would have put him at 5 different X factors where you only needed one of them to step up.
Yeah.
Let's just say one of them gets you about 15 points.
Even KCP disappeared a little bit.
He disappeared.
Yeah, I think KCP had his hands
Reggie
full.
Jackson has had his moments in this league where he can get you 20 or even 30, and he only played 5 minutes and got you none. So I don't know. They're going to have to look to maybe get one other key piece coming off the bench. They love Christian Brown.
They're all right. He's going to get better.
There was a shot. Christian Brown had a shot in the fourth quarter when the game was still close, where he had like a little 8-foot.
He didn't even look at the rim.
He just looked.
He didn't even look at the rim.
Turned around and went wheel backwards.
Yeah,
right?
I saw that. I was like, that was a shot right there.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I saw that.
All right. Up next, we got to ask Paul Pierce this question. Why did he stomp on a Jalen Brunson jersey
yesterday? It was
yesterday?
a Nick jersey. It was a Nick jersey.
I thought it was a Jalen Brunson. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.